The excitement is building for what could potentially be the biggest Britain's Strongest Man contest ever. 23rd of October, we have the current Britain's Strongest Man versus the current Europe's Strongest Man versus the current World's Strongest Man. I don't think we've ever had a lineup like this at Britain's Strongest Man. We say it every year, but the standard gets better and better. I'm super excited for it. It's probably one of the shows I've been most excited about all year. It's going to be a hard one to predict, but we're going to dive into the events and the athletes and give you our thoughts.
I am actually quite excited.
It's probably. I don't even think probably. I think this is the most in-depth competition we've seen at Britain's Strongest Man, and this is someone that I've competed in a lot of good, high-quality Britain's Strongest Man contests. I rated myself pretty highly at one point. But the guys are just awesome right now.
I think what's exciting about this is with this combination of athletes and this combination of events, there's no obvious winner. It's really, really difficult. So let's quickly go through it. Let's go through the athletes first.
The one thing I will say, we've got 10 athletes, and I would have liked to have seen a couple of others. Yeah, I think it would have been cool to have seen maybe 2 more.
12 to 15.
Just because it's a national title.
Yeah.
Give a few extra guys that opportunity, because obviously you've got the kind of secure names. So we'll rattle off the names very, very quickly. We have Mark Felix returning. We've got Andy Black, who this will be his 4th Giants Live contest. He's had an amazing year. Adam Bishop, the current Britain's Strongest Man. Shane Flowers, young up-and-coming guy, coming from powerlifting, very good deadlifter, excellent grip. He's excited to be competing in his first big major show. Another new guy, we've got Desmond Garn. Desmond competed at UK Strongest Man earlier this year, came second to Gav Bilton at Wales Strongest Man. Then we have a former Britain's Strongest Man, Graham Hicks. Hicksy, quietly confident for this.
As he should be.
This is always a controversial one. Competing in Britain's Strongest Man, Ireland's very own Para Dwyer. And then we have Paul Smith, finally getting a chance at Giants Live. And then obviously the 2 Stoltmans, Europe's Strongest Man, Luke Stoltman, and the World's Strongest Man, Mr. Tom Stoltman. It's a hell of a lineup.
It's quite a good lineup, isn't it? I would also have liked to see a few extra places, because you've got almost 7 guys there who we expected to come to this, so it would be nice just to see, because we did used to have at least 12 people, didn't we, at British Strongest Man?
There was 12, sometimes more than that.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons they've cut down to 10 in a lot of the shows is speed of the show to entertain crowds, but I would have liked to have seen 2 more athletes thrown in there. I think it would have been good. But anyway, it is a great lineup of athletes.
Let's go to the events.
Okay, the events. Everyone's kind of asking about the Giants Live events. There's been a little controversy about seeing some of the same events.
No, it's not really controversy. I think it's just because it's all meshed in together this year. We have seen a lot of repeat events.
Well, they are starting with an event we haven't seen at all this year, which is the dumbbell medley. Yes. And have you seen the size of the biggest dumbbell?
Yes.
It's a monster. Ridiculous. I mean, we talk about monster dumbbell. We've got the dumbbell medley is going to be 80 kilos up to 120 kilos.
Is that 5 dumbbells?
I think it's 5, yep. And the biggest one is massive. It's like comical.
As big as Graham Hicks.
It's going to be tough. Even if guys are training on their own dumbbell, getting used to something this size is going to be very awkward. And this competition, although we've got 2 of the best pressers on the planet in Luke and Hicksy, they're not amazing at dumbbell.
There's no standout dumbbell lifters here. I think the whole competition might be decided on this. I honestly do, because I don't see anyone getting 5. I think it's going to be a race for the first few.
Dumbbell's a funny one as well.
Could really mess things up.
Yeah, I think guys like Bish will be really smart. He'll come in knowing he needs to do a fast time for maybe 3 and then attempt the 4th. I don't even think Bish will probably try the 5th.
No.
The only 2 guys looking at this lineup, maybe 3 that you think, if anyone's got a chance of getting the 120, I'd say it would be Hicksy, Luke, and maybe Tom. Tom's got that natural size to cope with the dumbbells, but we've seen him perform on dumbbells, and he blows a bit hot and cold. Sometimes not too bad, sometimes...
He 0 repped in Bahrain, but was that because we know why. It's because he didn't wait for the down signal, so I'm sure that's a mistake he's corrected.
Absolutely. But the dumbbell's going to be an interesting one to start the show off, and it could really lay the foundation for the whole contest. After that, we've got the super yoke. It's the bike yoke.
I like that yoke. It looks cool.
It does look cool, and it'll be a speed event for sure. And actually, when you look at previous times on this, Graham Hicks has done this in under 9 seconds.
Yeah.
When he was, I think it was either when he won or when he was second to Eddie. I think it was when he was second to Eddie on the yoke. He was blisteringly fast. If he's back to that kind of form, he's going to be a handful for everyone. Moving on to the deadlift, we do have an axle deadlift again. This time it's the globes.
Yeah.
This is 350 kilos for reps.
Is this the same one we saw at Europe's Strongest Man?
Yeah, we saw it at Europe's Strongest Man. I believe Hicksy did 8 reps.
He did.
Rauno was the winner with 9.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Adam pulled out, so we didn't get to see him on this setup. But Adam is an incredible deadlifter for reps.
Yeah, and the only other person who competed in that show, who was also in this show, was Luke Stoltman, obviously, and he got 3 reps.
So this, I think the deadlift could be, that's going to be the question mark of Luke's contest.
Yes,
if he's going to have a chance of winning this, he needs a big deadlift performance.
Because there are some really good deadlifters here.
Both Desmond and Shane, very good deadlifters.
Really?
Yes.
See, I don't know much about these guys.
So they're both big deadlifters.
And these new guys can really mess things up, can't they?
For sure.
If they get in between you and someone else in points.
Yep. And then we have the loading race, which I believe is going to be like maybe a duck walk into like a tyre.
Not a duck walk.
A barrel and possibly a sack. I'm not 100% sure.
Into the skip. Oh, it's got to be
seeing what they've done before at Britain's, it's going to be something like that.
Yeah.
Very good event for Tom. He just kind of eats up the floor with his long stride.
Yeah.
Adam Bishop, again, very fit and athletic. Luke is great at those type of events.
Yeah.
That's the one event probably has cost Hicksy a few points in the last couple of years. And when I say a few points, I'm talking, he's placed maybe 4th or 5th rather than top 3.
Yeah, Hicksy's surprisingly quick, for such a static monster.
And he's actually brought his body weight down a little. So I think he's been working on the fitness. And then finally, finishing with the Atlas stones. And as you know, we've got a whole load of great stone lifters here. Bish has done some incredible times this year. Obviously, Tom is the current world record holder on this setup. Andy Black winning this set of stones at the Arnold's. So it's very difficult to make predictions. I mean, I've got my thoughts. How do you feel this is going to go?
It's really, really difficult. Like, the last time we had Britain's Strongest Man was February 2020, and so much has happened since then.
Yeah.
In that Britain's Strongest Man, Tom Stoltman had never podiumed at Worlds. I think, 6th or something was his best placing? Since then, he's come 2nd and 1st at Worlds. Back in the last Britain's, Luke had never won an international competition. He's won 2 since then. It's like a lot of the athletes are the same, but it's not the same. The story has changed, and I'm excited. I'm like, this is the one I've really been looking forward to, because I know they're hungry for it as well. There's going to be no half-assed performances. Everyone is desperate, 1, to get to World's Strongest Man if they're not already qualified, but 2, to get that national title.
If you're not, if you're not motivated to win your national title, what are you doing?
Yeah.
There are 10 guys here that are going to be giving 100% on every single event. I mean, we've heard the Stoltmans saying they are focused on Britain's, and they've got a little bit of criticism for that because they didn't maybe give 100% at the Arnold's. They're giving 100% this time round.
Oh, God, yeah. This is really important to them.
It's weird because you've got Europe's Strongest Man and World's Strongest Man, and neither of them have ever been the British champion.
Yeah.
But then you've got Hicksy, former Britain's Strongest Man. You've got Bish, who's the current Britain's Strongest Man. This is an exciting battle.
And Bish is not going to go down without a fight. This is good events for Bish. And Bish has had a little bit more time off than the others, so he's better rested. Bish is a technician.
Bish is very smart. He picks shows that he wants to be in his best shape for.
Yeah.
And he peaks very well.
This title is really important to Bish, and he's used to it now. He's used to being Britain's Strongest Man, so he's not going to let it go easily.
I think it's a weird situation because Bish is the current champion, but I don't feel Bish has the pressure of being the champion.
No.
I think the majority of people don't expect him to win.
Maybe the more casual fans, certainly. I think the hardcore fans who know Bish well as an athlete will look at this and go, Luke Stoltman has been on a roll recently, but these aren't great events for him compared to how they are for Tom or how they are for Bish.
They're good events. The problem is there's one event that could cost him.
the deadlift.
And the other events aren't maybe his guaranteed events. Like
No. The dumbbell's not his best overhead.
Yeah, I think if you say throw a log in there instead of a dumbbell, Luke's a lot happier.
Yeah.
You know, maybe even the super yoke it's a good event for him these days. It's not his favourite event.
No.
So it's just, you know, event selection sometimes changes things a little.
I think Luke could do consistently well, maybe with the exception of the deadlift, but he doesn't have like a banker in here. He doesn't have any...
Let's break down the events a little bit.
Okay, all right.
So we're starting off with the dumbbell. Now, going on past performances on the dumbbell, Paro Dwyer's one of the best dumbbell pressers in this lineup, and Paul Smith.
Yeah, see, and that messes things up again, doesn't it?
I'm not saying they're going to win, because I really think Tom and Luke have improved in every single area. And I think Adam's best overhead is dumbbell. Yeah. Adam has a huge collection of dumbbells at his gym. He's got like every dumbbell there is going. And he's actually very good at the dumbbell. Dumbbell and Viking press, I'd say, are his two favoured overheads. And we've seen the difference... was it Manchester when it was the Viking press as opposed to the axle in the Royal Albert Hall? He zeroed on the axle. The Viking press, he scored big points. And it does change, you know, factors. There's the ability to use your whole body a lot more efficiently on something like the dumbbell. Hicksy, incredible shoulder strength. He sent me a video recently of him doing the dumbbell. He almost strict pressed it.
That's ridiculous.
Which is just ridiculous power to do. For me, it's a hard one to pick. I think it's a problem event for Felix and for Andy Black. The good thing is, because it's a medley, there's a good chance they won't zero, because the first dumbbell is 80, so they should both get that.
And that could be a big difference in points, can't it?
I've said if Andy can get 3 or 4 points on the dumbbell, it improves his chance of really fighting to get, you know, potentially top 3, but I think that 5th spot is where he's going to be fighting for. Super yoke.
One of your old favourites.
Yes, I'd love to give it a go, but for me...
Would you?
Well, maybe not, right? No, maybe not against these guys now. No. For me, if he's in form, I think the top 2 guys on this, I think Hicksy he's very, very quick, and actually Adam Bishop. Bishop can move with this yoke. Tom has improved tremendously.
So Tom and Luke are much better.
And Luke as well. But yeah, looking at that lineup, I would say Andy Black as well has got good at these type of events.
Andy's got that size to, do you know what I mean? Big pace and, you know. But, I think Andy's just a year or 2 away from being like, you know.
If I was going to put my money on 2 guys to take it, I think I'd maybe say Bish or Hicksy.
Yeah.
But then I sound like I'm copying out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see one of the Stoltmans in there as well.
No. What about Paul Smith? What's he like?
Paul Smith is decent. I don't think yoke's his favourite event.
Okay.
Paul Smith, right, looking at these events, is one of those guys that's going to be there or thereabouts. Consistently performing well. He's decent at almost every event. I'd say if there was a weakness for Paul, in this lineup is going to be the deadlift.
Okay.
So there's some big deadlifters, and he'll probably drop a few points on that. But it's not just about being consistent at this level. You have to have weapons where you can win big points.
Yeah, especially if you have a weakness.
If you are 6th or 5th, 4th at best, you just don't pick up enough points. So you need to have events where you are top 2, you're going to smash it and you know, get those big points. And I feel Paul doesn't quite have that to jump into the top 4 overall. I think Paul is going to be in that battle between a number of guys actually for that 5th spot. Deadlift. Axle deadlift. How do we feel about that?
Wow, I know how a lot of people feel about it. It's you know, it is what it is. It's an axle deadlift.
This one is slightly easier than the railway.
Yeah, it's not the big wheel type ones. It's the globe. Yeah. So I would expect Graham Hicks to win. Oh no, because Bish. Maybe a draw. I don't know what they do. Oh, see, if those 2 do come 1 and 2 in the yoke, they'll be against each other in the deadlift. Oh, how exciting. It's hard to choose a winner between those 2, but I would expect one of those 2 to be a winner on the deadlift. And then with maybe Andy and Tom sort of close behind. Well, maybe not close behind, but, you know. I don't know. But I don't know anything about Desmond and Shane, and you do, so go on, enlighten me.
I'm just amazed you haven't mentioned Mark Felix.
I love Mark to death. But his deadlift is down right now. He had a hamstring injury, so
It is, but he got 4 reps with the heavier axle at the Arnold's. And if he's making progress on that, and actually Mark is slightly better when it's a little lighter, which this axle is. He's got incredible endurance, not so incredible at top end brute power. I think Mark, and when you kind of look back over the last couple of years, him and Bish often end up first and second in these type of events.
It's true, I know. Maybe I'm being unfair to my Mark. I don't know. I just don't know. I want him to do well, obviously.
You've got Mark Felix, Andy Black, Adam Bishop, Shane, Hicksey, Paradwyer and Tom Stoltman, I believe. All of those guys, consistently can pull over 400.
Yeah.
Luke has been around that, but that's like top end. I mean, and Luke's best deadlift this year, even on this setup, was 3 reps. He did 3 reps at Europe's, but won the whole show because he was just that damn good at everything else. The question for me with this lineup is, can he afford to get 3, maybe 4 reps again and still be good enough to win all the other events? I think it'll be difficult with the likes of Tom in there. The likes of...
Especially when the other people have their weapons. Tom has the Loden race and the Atlas Stones.
Yeah.
Bish has the deadlift. It like his competition have weapons, does Luke? I don't know.
He does have weapons, but he's... we're talking about winning for Luke. We're not talking about top 3. He's got to come to win this.
That's what I mean.
And I feel the deadlift, if he matches what he's done this year, is not going to be good enough. If he comes in top shape and he can get 5 or 6 reps, that changes things.
Before the deadlift at Europe's, I was speaking to Dan Hipkiss. I said, what do you expect Luke to do? What's a good number for Luke? He said, to be honest, he can do anything between 3 and 6. But he did 3. So if he could get 6, that would be a huge difference, I think. And
absolutely. There's a big difference between that. I mean, someone like Parr, he hit 6 reps at Europe's. Parr's a good solid deadlifter. Bish we know about. Hicksey we know about. Andy Black getting stronger. The only thing with someone like Andy compared to Bish and Hicksey is Andy's not as strong at lockout yet. And the lockout is important on an event like this, because if you're wasting or driving so hard off the floor and then your form is a little bit off and your glutes and lower back fatigue quickly, often you won't get as many reps as the guys that have better form and can kind of pull through nicely. So guys like Felix on this, guys like Bish, guys like Hicksey, and potentially Tom. Tom's hard to read because he's done a few comps where he's just not pushed that hard, but Tom's deadlift is getting strong.
We haven't seen Tom do deadlift many times this year either.
He did,
and we haven't seen him do it on this bar.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think when we spoke to Tom, he's supremely confident that he's going to win this.
Well, he said, I'm going to win this one and then pull out the next one so I can focus on retaining my World's Strongest Man title.
His goal is to win all the major titles once.
Yeah.
So. And then win Worlds multiple times. It's incredible, really. Then we got the loading race. I can only pick one guy on this. Tom. Yeah. Tom Stoltman's loading.
Short of a mistake being made, Tom just, he has all the natural attributes you need for this. He's explosive, he's got the reach, he can just wrap things up and manhandle.
He's got a stride, he just covers more ground with every step.
Thor and Brian were always great at these events at World's Strongest Man, and Terry was also a few years ago, but it's a big man event, isn't it?
When you've got that reach, you have the ability to just pick up objects quite easily.
Yeah.
And then you've got that foot kind of distance where you can just cover ground quickly, and you're athletic. You've got every advantage. There's been incredible athletes that are shorter that make up for it with just pure speed and determination. But Tom has all everything's right for him to score big points on that event.
And Graham and Adam, I think, are good examples of the slightly smaller athletes that make up for it.
Oh, Adam's rapid.
Yeah, Luke also, although I wouldn't say Luke was small. But I'm interested to see how Andy can do in this event because...
He's got those natural attributes.
Exactly.
Big, strong, tall,
Does he have
levers.
the speed or fitness, though? He needs to learn to really run. Run, because I see it a lot of the time, even at the top level, they sort of do a little jog back.
Yeah.
No, you've got to run.
You've got to sprint between
Yes.
implements. No wasting time. The guy, you watch the top guys, they're quick,
sprint.
but then they sprint back. They're covering, every single time they run back, they're gaining 2 or 3 seconds on someone that's just plodding. Then we have the Atlas Stones. And again, although we had that, and this is what's exciting about competition. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
But you've got a Tom Stoltman that messed up last time. He's going to want to put that right. And, let's be honest, coming down to the stones, it could be all about the title.
I would like, for this last competition of Giant Size, I'd like to see them use the heavier set, personally. I want a grinder at the end. I want someone to be to know that this last stone is going to win them, and I want it to be going. I want slow-mo. I don't want 18 seconds.
You don't want just a blitzed Tom Stoltman throwing every stone up.
I want a bit of theatre, and I think the heavier set might give me
even the heavier set. I still think Tom throws them all up like a pebble. The only thing is, then you may see guys really having to work hard for the last stone,
and I kind of want to see that.
Unfortunately, you're not going to see that. It's the lighter set, 100 to 180 kilos, so it's going to be about who is the quickest. We know all these guys are great at stones. You know, Andy Black, 18 seconds, and last couple. I think Tom's time is around 16.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, people have kind of spoke about people doing the same sets quicker. It's also remembering how everything is set up. So the distance the stones are from the platform. So this record is the Giants Live record.
Yeah, because
they also
every
start
set's different.
At the last. They start at the last
the fifth platform,
and they've got to
around.
run to the first. Whereas some competitions you're just starting just over the stone. So how it's set, it really dictates whether it's a world record or not.
Yeah.
So you can really only get world records for stones on the same set of stones.
Yeah.
Because even the stones themselves, it's not like a bar that
a bar is a bar.
A calibrated, weights and stuff all is the same. On stones, there's a lot of variables.
Yeah.
So this is the record for the Giants Live stones. It would be cool to see the heavier set, I think, for this show, particularly when you look at the standard.
Yes. And what's on the line as well? What's at stake? I want to see them work. The heavier set, is it 210 for the heaviest stone, or is that?
I think it's only 200 the heaviest stone. Weirdly, they did the heaviest set when I won Europe's.
Yeah.
And all these guys are more than capable of doing that set.
Oh yeah.
It's interesting they've kept the lighter set. I think they say they've done it because of the amount of comps and they don't want to mess them up. But I still think they're so high in standard now.
Yeah, I think they cope okay.
Yeah. But we've got great stone lifters. Luke Stoltman, brilliant stone lifter. Adam Bishop, Andy Black. Felix is a good stone lifter, and then obviously Tom Stoltman.
Yeah.
So we've gone through the events. I actually have this competition into little sections.
You have to commit.
All right.
To a top 5.
Okay. Well, based on what I've seen this year, I think I have Tom and Bish battling for first place.
Yeah.
And I think Tom's going to do it. I think, if Tom can start reasonably strong with the first 3 events, and then he's got loading and stones as the last 2 events, and he's done this a number of times, he's almost got better as the competition's gone on.
Yeah.
And
when he's doing well.
Yeah, but I think, the events that start are decent events for him. If he's in that position where he's already battling for, if he's going into the loading, for instance, in the top 3, close on points, knowing there's loading and stones, he's going to be in a very good position. But I think Bish has got a chance. I really do. I think the top 4 all have a chance. But if I was going to pick a favourite, I've got to put Tom. He's the world's strongest man. He's hungry as hell. These
are good events for him.
He's put other things on the hold to focus on this.
Yeah. Good
solid events for him.
Do you know what though? Interestingly, apart from Scotland's Strongest Man, Tom has never won a one-day show.
No. He's his first ever international win was World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, he nearly won in Glasgow.
But one thing you do see once you get that first win,
then they come.
Getting that first big. We saw it with Luke. Luke hadn't, other than Scotland's Strongest Man, hadn't won any big major shows. He won 2 in a row.
Yeah.
I think Tom is. He's different to Tom from 2 years ago.
Very different.
Very confident in his abilities, relaxed now, focused. He's coming to do the job. And I'd love to see Bish take the title because, we probably almost dismiss Bish sometimes because of how good Tom and Luke are and some of the other athletes.
I don't dismiss
Bish
it.
is an incredible strongman and these set of events are very good for him. It would not surprise me to see him get on top of the podium. But if I'm going to put my money on the line and I've got to say someone. I'm going to pick Tom first.
Are you going to put your
Bish second?
Yeah.
I'll put a bet on with you. If my pick is any different to yours. Then I see a big battle for third place between Hicksy and Luke Stoltman. I think comparing the two, Hicksy, I don't see Hicksy being too far. If you went head to head, Luke could potentially beat the two of them on the stones, but I don't see Hicksy being far behind. Same with the loading. The thing is, Hicksy and Luke won't be that far apart, I think, on the loading, because I don't see Luke beating the likes of Tom or even Bish, to be honest. He could be third, but I don't see Hicksy being anything worse than, say, maybe fifth.
Yeah.
The dumbbell, I think they could be very close. Deadlift, big points for Hicksy.
There could be a big gap.
And yoke, I would pick Hicksy over Luke, but again, I think it'll be close between the two of them. So I just feel that deadlift could be the deciding factor.
So you think on 4 events they'll be very close. On the deadlift, there could be quite a few guys between them. And
yes,
Luke's
and
that's why make up the ground.
That's why I think Hicksy comes third.
A very fair argument, Laurence.
And then the real battle is for 5th place. And I think you've got 4 guys that could be battling for 5th place. And 5th place is a big spot because it's a spot that does potentially get you to World's Strongest Man.
Do you generally have 1 Brit per group? In the last 2 years, we've seen more because of, well, there's
lots of factors. But, you know, if you get that 5th spot at Brits, you put yourself in that mix of an invite to World's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
It's not a guaranteed invite. Only top 3 at Giants Live is a guaranteed invite. But when you've got the World's Strongest Man, Europe's Strongest Man, etc., already qualified,
some guaranteed spots,
they start looking down the list. And this is a tough one. Now, I've got 4 guys that I think could potentially be 5th. Mark Felix, Pyro Dwyer,
and
Paul Smith, and Andy Black.
Yeah.
It's going to be a hell of a battle between the 4 of them. And you look at the events again, like Par, very consistent. Paul, very consistent. Felix and Andy, very good events, couple of weaknesses. It's going to come down to small margins, I think. You know, who's going to make mistakes, who's going to perform that little bit better than we expect. If I have to go with a top 5, I'm gonna say Andy Black gets 5th. But any one of those could certainly sneak into that position. I think Desmond and Shane going to enjoy their first experience at Giants Live, Britain's Strongest Man. I think both of them, I don't see them challenging the top guys, but there's certain events they can do well on. I think the deadlift particularly for both of them. And that could be the issue for Luke if one of them beat him on the deadlift. Guys like Felix, he could come in, if his deadlift's back on form, he could push.
Yeah,
you know? He's good
great.
loading. He's good at stones. It was different events. When you've got like that guaranteed
Hercules
win,
hold,
and it starts you off well, you get that momentum.
Yeah.
First event being dumbbell.
It's not a good start for him.
He needs big points, and that's going to be.
And to be honest, I think it's going to be what keeps him out of the top 5.
So, what's your top 5, Elizabeth?
I don't want to do this one because I think it's going to be so close the whole way through.
Honestly, like I said,
small margins, little mistakes. I think it's just going to be a bloodbath, right? I think the same as you, Tom or Adam, 1 and 2. Looking at it, I think it slightly favours Tom, the events, but only does it. Loading an Atlas stone, Tom. Deadlift and
deadlift.
And deadlift is Adam.
Deadlift you give Adam, but Tom's not going to be far behind.
No, and yoke and it's yoke really again, hard. It depends on. So if Tom wins loading and Tom wins stones, where does Adam place in those events?
Adam could potentially be second on those. You know, he's very quick.
Yeah. Yes. Do you know what? I'm just because I don't like agreeing with you. And for other reasons also, because he does hold the title. This is super important to him, and these are great events for him, and he's an amazing strongman. I am picking Adam Bishop for the win.
There we go.
So, there you go.
You got Bish first, you got Tom second.
Yeah.
Then what?
Then I'm in the same conundrum as you with Graham
so you're
and
going to go different
Luke.
to me?
No, because I agree with you.
Okay.
And I don't like it. But I do agree with you. I don't like it one bit. But I agree. I think Graham and Luke are really close on most of those events. But I think there's a big risk that Graham is round about here on the deadlift, and Luke is round about here.
And you know,
and there's not enough.
Luke watching this is going to
Luke,
motivate him. No. Luke takes these things in the right way.
I
He takes
know.
the motivation from it.
I know he does.
Luke loves to prove people wrong.
And I love to be proven wrong. And also, Luke is a different athlete to how he was 2 years ago.
Absolutely.
Europe's Strongest Man. We were all scared to talk to Luke because I've never seen Luke so intense.
He was focused.
Because she just had this worried look all day. She's like, I don't know what's going on. Bless her, because Luke just had this switch. And I wouldn't be surprised if Luke just comes and just shuts us all up. And I kind of hope he does, because I'm a big
Go on then,
fan.
5th place. Who are we going for?
Paul Smith.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know anything anymore.
Just to be different again from me?
No, because this is really important to Paul. Paul's got,
Absolutely.
He's coming with a point to prove. I think he might be a bit better rested than Andy, and I think he's got more consistencies there than Felix and Andy.
Paul has some
Possibly.
really good events. He's very good at dumbbell, actually, which people won't realise. The only thing is the size of this dumbbell I think is going to throw a lot of people
It's as
off.
big as Paul.
Yeah. And again, Paul has the slight weakness in the deadlift.
I think I agree. I think it's going to be really, really tight and close for that 5th. I look at Mark and I think the dumbbell, and then I see Mark, apart from maybe the deadlift, I see him being mid-pack-ish on a lot of those other events.
Yeah. Mark's decent at yoke. He's an amazing deadlifter if he's back to his best.
Yeah.
He's decent at loading. He's decent at stones.
But decent isn't going to be enough.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
That's the issue. And I think Paul's in that boat as well.
Yeah, I think Parr
decent at a
also.
lot of the events.
I think Parr is more consistent than those other guys. But I don't think, does Parr have anything that he can score big on? I don't know. Because Parr
again, another guy good at the dumbbell. And Parr, he's had an interesting year. At UK's, he ended up 4th, but really one event cost him there.
Oh, it cost him
He
the
got
title.
screwed over, to be honest.
Say what you think, Lozzie.
I do. Paul Smith was 2nd at UK's. He beat Andy Black there. Paul, very consistent, very smart athlete.
Yeah, I'm sticking with
that pack of the 4 guys fighting for that 5th place. I think is going to be a hell of an interesting.
We
battle.
say the 4 guys like we know what's going to happen.
This is
but we
look.
don't.
This is an opinion, and this is the fun part of any sport. I watch the boxing on the weekend. We all have an opinion. We form an opinion. I try and give reasonings for my opinion. If these guys prove me wrong, and which has been done many times, I'm more than happy for them. You know that better than anyone.
I'm rarely proof because I'm usually right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
no, I'm sticking with mine. So I'm going Bish, then Tom, then Graham, then Luke, then Paul.
Cool. And I've got Tom, Bish, Hicksy, Luke, Andy.
Yeah, cool. Slight differences, but not many.
Slight differences, but there or thereabouts the
Yeah.
same. It's going to be an amazing contest. I cannot wait to watch it. It's probably one of the most excited I've been for a show this year.
Oh yeah, yeah. Out of I was very excited for the Royal Albert Hall because that was
obviously.
us all coming back. But then this has been the one I've really been looking forward to. I think this is the interesting one this year.
Even if you're not British, I think the interest in Strongman, where you've got so many great guys, you've got Europe's and World's Strongest Man in the same comp. There's going to be a lot of eyes on it. Where can people watch it?
They can watch it on either officialstrongman.com or on the Giants Live Facebook page. I always mess this
You'll
up.
put a link in below.
Yeah, there will be links, yeah.
Make sure you guys check them out. Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel and let us know your thoughts. Who do you see as the top 5 for Britain's Strongest Man?
You did have an official sort of ending, didn't you?
While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.